Today, we're going to be making a pair of these. Here we are out in the shop. We're going to get started. The first thing we're going to need is supplies, of course. We've got our wood. We've got some bolts. This is just a 2x2. It's actually 1.5 by 1.5 dimensionally. Of course, we got some half-inch sheet of plywood here that we're going to be using for the base. And also we've got a tube of PVC. We're going to chop this up and make some cuffs. This is probably the most expensive part of the whole show. Unfortunately, I can only get it in 10-foot lengths. If I had a 3-foot length, I would have done that. Okay, this is the general design of the stilts here. We've got a piece of wood here and a piece of wood here. This is our PVC cuff that we're going to be making. I'll show you how to do that later. We've got this plywood platform here for your foot, and this little thing on the side is going to be the support for that, and I'll show you how that works. On the bottom here, we just use a strip of rubber tire from an old bicycle, just to give the bottom a little grip. The length of this is going to be depending on how high you want your stilts. This part of the stilt is going to be dependent on the length of the leg, and that platform is going to be sized to the shoes. Okay, so the first pair of stilts we're going to be making here are for Archer. He wanted 21-inch stilts. That's about perfect. The next part of the stilts, the part that goes up next to your knee, you measure off of the stilt recipient. And so I just measured Archer's foot there, and from his foot to right below his knee, I got about 15 inches. I'm adding 6 inches of overlap between the bottom section of the stilt and the upper section of the stilt, so we can bolt them together. Perfect. And all we're going to do is just kind of trace it out. And we're going to want this flat edge to be on the outside of his foot. We're going to use another piece of plywood here that's going to go underneath with the shoe. Here, I don't know if you can see that, but there's going to be another piece that goes kind of a triangle shape underneath the shoe platform there. That kind of gives it a little bit more rigidity. We'll do a 7-inch section here. We can always make it smaller later. So there, and we're going to go down 4.5 inches. We've got our stilt mocked up real fast here. We're going to bolt that shoe into place. We're going to drill some holes here for the for these long carriage bolts. They're 4-inch carriage bolts, so that will go through the plywood and stick out just barely enough for a nut. Okay, we've bolted the things together. Now we need to screw our plate down with some screws, and what I like to do is I like to pre-drill. We're going to be making the cuffs, which are the PVC pieces that go on the right below the knee on the stilts. That seems about right, about 3 inches tall. So here we are at the trusty bandsaw, where we're going to cut some slits in these to make them so that they're C's and cuffs and go around your leg. So we've got our PVC tubes. Archer here is sanding some burrs off of them and cleaning them up a little bit. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this heat gun and we're going to heat this up and kind of make it a little bit malleable when it's warm and open it up a little bit so it's the right size for his leg. So it's a little bit of trial and error, but ultimately we're just heating this up and making it work. All right. Okay. Okay, I'm going to let that cool and just holding it open, letting it cool. Okay, so now that we've got our pieces, we're going to be putting them on the top with just a little bit of an angle. One of the last steps is to attach our shoes to the wooden base that we've got. Okay, here we are trying them out for the first time. We still need to add some rubber to the bottom to give them a little more grip, but they're pretty good so far. So we're just kind of getting used to it. But do they fit well? Archer? All right, so you think it's nice and sturdy? I mean, what we want for these stilts is they should feel like an extension of your own leg, so that as you're using them, they're not loose, they're not wobbling around, they feel sturdy, so that you can trust where they're going to hit the ground and you can trust how you're going to put your weight on them. All right. We'll keep practicing and report back. Using an old bike tire, I'm going to cut it up and wrap it around here so that basically you have a little grip on the cement. Step one is cut that bead. The beads on the tires are always the hardest part. Boy, these are dull. There we go. So once you cut that, everything else is good. So let me just estimate kind of how much we're going to need. I don't know, maybe about that much per tire. I'll cut the bead over here too. There we go. All right. Archer's learning the stilts pretty quickly. He's got the swing there as a safety in case he trips up. He can pull in the swing and not fall. But this is a great little place to walk around and learn how to use stilts. Mud is nice and soft. All right, he's doing a great job. Only about 5 minutes of walking and he's mastering it. Look at that. Fun stuff. All right, give us a pose, Archer. There you go.